Okay, so you know how we always like to do a deep dive into some really fascinating topics?
Mhm.
Well, today we're talking about something that's been in the headlines a lot recently, and it's pretty scary stuff.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
We're talking about wildfires and insurance,
Mhm.
specifically in California.
Right.
So imagine this, right? You've lost everything in a wildfire. Your home, your memories, all your stuff.
Oh, wow.
Gone, just gone. And then to make things even worse,
Yeah.
you find out your insurance won't cover it.
Oh, that is awful.
Yeah, it's a total nightmare. And unfortunately, it's becoming a reality for a lot of people in California.
Yeah, I can see why this is a deep dive worthy topic.
Right. I
Yeah.
mean, just look at what's happened in the past few years of these devastating wildfires just ripping through communities.
Yeah, like what?
We're talking, Pacific Palisades, Altadena, Malibu, Pasadena. I mean, the list goes on.
Wow, those are some pretty well off places too.
Exactly. And it's not just the immediate tragedy of losing your home. It's the potential for, total financial ruin.
Right. You're already dealing with the emotional trauma of losing everything, and then you get hit with this financial burden on top of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the big ruin is why are insurance companies seemingly abandoning these Californian homeowners?
Well, it's not quite that simple. I mean,
I know.
they're not just, turning their backs on people.
Right.
But we are seeing a growing trend of these companies actually pulling out of California altogether.
Right.
I mean, they're one of the biggest names in the game, and last year in 2023, they made a pretty drastic move.
What do they do?
Well, first they stopped accepting any new customers in California.
Okay, that makes sense.
But then they also terminated 72,000 existing contracts.
72,000, that's a lot of people.
Yeah, it's a huge number, and it really highlights the scale of this problem.
So what's driving this drastic move by these companies? I mean, is it purely a financial decision?
Well, yeah, at the end of the day, it is a business, and they have to manage risk. And the simple fact is that the frequency and severity of wildfires in California are increasing.
Because of climate change.
Exactly. Climate change is a huge factor here. It's creating these hotter, drier conditions that are just perfect for wildfires to spread.
And that means bigger payouts for insurance companies.
Exactly. And those payouts can be massive. I mean, just think about it. State Farm's wildfire payouts in California last year alone topped $10 billion.
$10 billion.
Wow. That's not sustainable for any company, and that's why they're pulling out.
Okay, so it makes sense from a business perspective, but it's still a pretty devastating situation for homeowners.
Right. And it really highlights the human cost of climate change.
Absolutely. And what's really interesting, even wealthy communities aren't immune to this.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about it.
Like Pacific Palisades in LA, it's known for its celebrity residents, and those homes are not cheap.
No, they're definitely not.
But even they're feeling the heat, literally. I mean, these wildfires don't discriminate.
Nope, they sure don't.
So this isn't just about losing a house. It's about losing a sense of security that even money can't buy.
Absolutely. And it's about the emotional toll, the anxiety, the fear of not knowing how you'll rebuild your life.
Exactly. So what happens to those who can't even get insurance in the first place?
That's a really good question, and it's something that a lot of experts are grappling with right now.
So are there any solutions being explored?
Well, there are a few ideas on the table. One option is government-backed insurance programs.
Oh, like what we have for flood insurance.
Exactly. The idea is to create a safety net for those who can't get coverage in the private market.
That sounds promising, but wouldn't that just shift the risk from private companies to taxpayers?
Yeah, that's the big question. And it's something that policymakers need to consider carefully because is that really a sustainable solution in the long run?
Right.
Another approach that's being looked at is community-based risk-sharing initiatives.
What does that mean?
Well, basically, it involves neighbors pooling their resources together to create a local safety net.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so it's all about exploring these alternative models for managing these climate-related risks.
Right, because the traditional approaches to insurance might not be enough anymore.
Exactly. We need to start thinking outside the box because climate change is changing the game.
It really is. And, it's easy to get caught up in the California wildfires, but this is a much bigger issue.
Oh, absolutely.
This is a glimpse into a future where climate change is impacting insurance availability and affordability everywhere.
Globally, yeah.
So we need to start having these tough conversations about how we're going to deal with this.
We do, because it's not going away.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with a final thought.
Okay, I'm listening.
How can we balance individual responsibility with collective action to protect people from these climate risks?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It really is. And what new models for risk sharing and disaster relief do we need to explore?
We need to get creative, that's for sure.
I think so too, because this is a problem that's not going away. And it's only going to get more challenging as climate change continues.
Well said.
Thanks for joining me for this deep dive. It's been a really insightful conversation.
No problem. I always enjoy talking about these important issues.
Me too. And hopefully it's given our listeners some food for thought.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, right?
Exactly. Thanks again.
You're welcome.
And we'll see you next time for another deep dive.
Sounds good.